Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I've got a bit of a real, raw and honest chat because it's so crazy to look back on how far I've come since 2020. I know it was a very difficult year for everyone. Everyone had some kind of story where things were just got very challenging at times. And for me, I personally lost who I was as a person and I reached some very, very dark states. And when I look at what I've done this year and reinvented myself, I look completely different. I feel completely different. But I wanted to talk a little bit about how your mental health manifests in your physical body. So one of the issues I was experiencing was I felt like I was just in constant pain. Like my body was just always aching. I had aching bones in my shins and my ankles that just ached so much from the inside out. It hurt to even do a 4 or 5 hour shift at my job, which is only 10 hours a week. And that was a struggle. I was so tired all the time. And on one hand, I did get healthier since moving to Oz as I moved to a farm, and I slept really well for the first time in my life once COVID hit, and it's the first time I'd actually stopped in my life. But then when things did get crazy again and I had the food truck and I was sometimes getting up at 3 or 4 in the morning to cook, sometimes I'd do dishes for 3 hours a day. I was cooking till I couldn't even move my body anymore. But there was so much stuff in my head and my environment that really just caused me to lose who I was, lose all my confidence, all my self-esteem, my self-worth, and I just felt like an empty shell. That's the words that I would use to describe it. So when I was going through my gallery, I found these photos of me last year, and here's me trying to take a cute selfie and trying to look nice, and I look so washed out. To you it might look like a nice photo, but to me I look so dull and grey and like the life has gone out of my soul. It's really crazy to look back on those images, but I can probably tell more myself because I see myself every day. But I don't know if you can tell now, I just feel so much brighter and like more vibrant and human again. And it's just so crazy to see the difference. So also when COVID hit, I also lost all interest in exercise, which is one of the things I used to do almost every day. So I lost so much muscle, and I still ate very well because I was in love with cooking, but I lost a lot of strength and I just started to lose weight, which I didn't even notice because I thought I still looked the same, but I just started becoming like a little bit underweight and like losing all of my toning and just kind of like not shriveling up, but just deteriorating over time, and it just got really bad. And this is very raw and real, but here is a photo from one of my counselling sessions earlier in 2021. So here I've said, I feel like I'm a failure, I'll never live up to his standards, I'm useless. I just used to tell myself that all the time because that's what I honestly believe, and from the people around me I honestly just felt like I had no value in the world. I felt like, what's the point in even being here? I can't do anything right. I make no one happy. It was really bad to view yourself in that way. And then I had to try and think of positive things. So I like to help others achieve their goals. Honestly, during these times, just having my nutrition business was the only thing I had to look forward to because it was the only purpose that I had, kind of thing. I'm creative, I'm kind, hardworking and ambitious. And I felt empty, disappointed, incapable and teary. So those are just, I just wanted to show that because it's a glimpse into what my head was actually thinking last year. So some of the things that went wrong, my home life was really bad, because I'll just go through a few things to show how I got to that point. My home life was really bad. The people that I was around, I do it myself as well. In my mental state, I view things as worse than they are, and even if someone doesn't reply straight away, I'm like, oh my god, they hate me, or I've like done something wrong, and they might just be busy or like didn't see the message. So it's not blaming the other people all the time, but I did get told by people who were close in my life about all the things I was doing wrong all the time. I never lived up to anyone's standards, and that's why it just kept getting worse and worse and progressing into this darker state. My relationship wasn't healthy, and it wasn't helping me become the best version of myself. And I guess with the home life, I felt the weight of everything. Like, it just wasn't really like a good environment to be in, if that makes sense. And I've really noticed a difference since focusing energy onto myself, because before I was giving my energy to other people and other things, and I was just so depleted within my soul, and I just couldn't seem to get out of that mental cycle. Some of the things that helped me cure my chronic pain and fatigue was literally once I moved to this new house, we weren't on the farm anymore. So I started taking the dog for walks, and I also started training for the WBFF bodybuilding bikini show. And before that, I was so depressed. I honestly, for weeks and weeks, I was living off peanut butter sandwiches and coffee. I didn't even want to cook. I was having alcohol and pharmaceutical drugs at night to, not overdosing or anything, but just to like numb the pain and try to relax and go to sleep, because I just couldn't be bothered being awake. That's how bad it was, at the worst state. And just when I started prepping for that bodybuilding show, I just started eating more veggies, and within a few days you notice you start to pick up just having a few more nutrients, having some kale or some broccoli, or I love purple cauliflower because it's like it's like a unicorn vibes kind of thing, and increasing my vegetable intake and just going for those walks, having the fresh air and being out in nature and the blue skies and just the sun warming up your skin does amazing for someone who may be depressed or going through a depressive state. Wow, that honestly makes such a difference. And it just helps like get your digestion going and getting some fresh air, getting your blood flowing. And even if I didn't want to do the walk for myself, I was like, I really just don't want to do it, I would have to do it for my dog. So I'll just prioritize her and then do it for her. Then I'd start to feel better the more and more that I did it. Another thing that helped was not being rushed off my feet. So I've always been such a busy person. I had 3 jobs the second I left school at age 16 or 16. And at age 17, I started my degree. And I've just worked so hard my whole life. I've never stopped. And once you stop, everything just changes. You have space in your brain to think of all these new ideas. You have energy. I mentioned this in one of my recent videos. I've got energy to put towards anything I want to learn. So I'm learning more about video editing. I just made a podcast. I just launched a new ebook, and like I'm just learning so much about business all the time, even learning stuff about myself and stuff about the world. You just expand your mind because your brain's not so like exhausted or bogged down with day-to-day tasks, if that makes sense. So you can really put that energy into yourself, into learning, into bettering yourself, growing as a person and overcoming those barriers. And the trick that I always say to people who may be struggling with depression or a negative mindset, or they might just be lacking excitement or purpose, you've got to achieve small goals often. So for me, even just launching an ebook, that's something small. I made a list of projects I want to do by the end of the year. So release a recipe book, blah, blah, blah. So if you're just working on things all the time, even if you make something new, if you want to do something DIY, make a garden, or maybe you want to, like I know my flatmate, she does a lot of sewing and altering garments and stuff, and just achieving those small goals and using your creative mind to create something, it really does something positive for your mental health. And also a note on not being rushed off your feet. At the worst point, when I was I think the food truck might have just gone live, or I was just finishing the final bits and pieces to get it legal, and I did not know anything about legal stuff or licensing, so I was trying to teach myself all this during the day. I had my job at the health store, and I started working at a restaurant as a host for only 6 weeks. But in the busiest stage, I literally had to have pre-workout just to do my shift. So I'd just be doing the dinner shift drinking pre-workout just to stay awake. So things got like, that's how bad and exhausted I was at some stages. So now that I've completely reinvented myself, my pain has gone. And I actually remember asking there's a naturopath at my work, and I said, what would be causing me to have aching bones? Like, is it calcium, or is it like an autoimmune condition? Why would a 24-year-old be struggling to do a 5-hour shift at work at an easy and fun job? And she said it's related to your root chakra. And I didn't know anything about chakras, so I went home and looked it up, and it was related to feeling safe and secure in your environment. My home environment was the opposite. I felt so unwanted. I felt like, the words I would just say to myself were so bad, and I just felt like I was a burden on everyone, and like that no one would want me around, and I couldn't do anything right. At one stage, I also tried to leave and tried to go back to New Zealand, and I moved half my stuff out of the house, and there was no flights for 3 months because they couldn't fit anyone else into the quarantine. So I had to just move all my stuff back in and just try to put a plaster on things. So my home life was so bad, and it really, really goes to show how surrounding yourself with similar people who are just achieving good things, and people who look out for you and appreciate your company, and who are like kind and respectful, that just makes honestly such a big difference. And it just really made me think, I know that doctors have a time and a place, but the doctor would never ask any questions about anything got to do with your life or your diet or how you're feeling. They just would prescribe me painkillers, and it just doesn't get to the source of the problem. So yes, doctors have a time and a place, but really, really, if you've never considered going to a naturopath before, or some kind of holistic or alternative medicine, I've really started exploring stuff like that, and it is so crazy. It's like a whole new world out there for like self-healing, which is amazing. And I just wanted to edit in a quick little clip I just remembered. I also used to have really, really bad period pains. I used to go to the emergency department in hospital. I'd be hunched over on the bed. No amount of painkillers would even make a difference. I couldn't even feel the painkillers. And I struggled with that over the last few years. It was absolutely excruciating, and I would just avoid it at all costs. So when I take the contraceptive pill, I just keep skipping periods because I didn't want to deal with the pain, and I couldn't like take time out to just let that natural cycle happen, if that makes sense. And ever since I haven't been stressed anymore, or my lifestyle is a lot more balanced, a lot more in alignment, the last 2 times I've had my time of the month, I haven't had any painkillers. And that just goes to show, because one day in the emergency room, the nurse said to me, she asked if I was stressed, and I burst into tears and like told her everything that was going on. And she actually spent a bit of time with me. She was acting quite motherly, which was nice, absolutely lovely. But I just remember back then, I was just dosed up on the highest painkillers you could get, and I couldn't even tell that I'd taken any painkillers. And now I would get nervous when it's about time to happen, and then it's actually fine. And I'm like, oh my God, it just goes to show that it all comes from here, and your lifestyle and everything makes a difference in your physical health. So what I did to fully heal my chronic pain, so I was eating more veggies, prioritizing healthy meals because I was leading up to my bodybuilding show. I started working out, even if the weight was really light. I started getting back into strength training again, and started to find the love of having a routine and achieving your PBs at the gym and stuff. And it just makes you feel so much stronger and more put together, and it's a great way to release anger and emotions as well. Just get really angry when you're doing it. And then I've just stepped out of my comfort zone and tried new things. So I catered for a yoga retreat. I did the bodybuilding show, which I'd had in my mind for ages, and I only did it in a 6-week prep. And then after that, I went home to New Zealand. I saw all my friends and family for the first time in ages, which is amazing. And now just getting back, I've literally just made huge leaps in my business and just doing things that usually people just worry about putting themselves out there and think worry about what other people will think, or oh no, what if this happens, and what if this happens, and I'll literally get an idea and then I just plan out how to do it and then do it and just teach myself how, and just put yourself out there and surprise yourself and challenge yourself and just achieve those goals that you've been thinking about for a long time. So if you are experiencing some kind of signals that your body is not in a positive state or where it's meant to be, it could be related to your mental health. If you know that it is, then I really encourage you just to do a reset, even if you just have a weekend off your busy schedule and do whatever you want to do. Maybe you want to plan a favorite things day and just think about all your favorite things, go out to your favorite cafe, meet a friend and do your favorite activities, and even just blob out on the couch at night with your favorite food and watch your favorite TV show or something. And it's just really doing those things for yourself that allow you to just reset, and you can just wake up the next day feeling so much more refreshed and get started on your healing journey. Also just nourishing your body with food that you know is going to provide you with vitamins and minerals and protein and nutrients and all that kind of thing. Just getting your nutrition intake under control. Exercise, whether you want to do some kind of therapy like counseling or something, but there's so many things that you can do to just get onto that healing path. I also recommend you reassess your job or your career. Do you get excited to go to work? Most people don't, and you spend most of your life working and traveling to and from work and thinking about work, and that takes so much of your energy. So you really need to love what you do and find purpose and passion in every day so that you can't wait to wake up in the morning. That's the key to happiness. And then when you have a happy, positive mind, if you are experiencing physical pain and fatigue, it will slowly start to heal itself. So it is a little bit of a journey, but I'll wrap this up here. If you've got any questions, then put them below. But I hope you found this episode valuable, and yes, I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.